What is up, everybody? I'm hoping you're all well. Firstly, ignore the hair, it looks like absolute shit today. I mean, I say that like it doesn't look like shit every day. Like my life! And secondly, I apologise for this review being out a little bit too late. I went to see this movie on its opening day on Thursday. However, because I've been working a lot, I didn't get around to recording my review for this film. It is now, what day is it? Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's nearly a week since I've seen this movie and I haven't yet recorded my review for it. But I'm getting around to that now, and to be fair, I am a little bit happy that it's taken me a while to get to recording this review because it's given me time to think about this movie a little bit more, because the Fast and Furious franchise is a franchise that I absolutely adore. I love this franchise, especially from the 5th movie. It's gotten more and more ridiculous, and personally, I love that ridiculous side to it. That's what I go to see when I go to see these movies, that over-the-top ridiculous action that you can turn your brain off and just have fun with. That being said, this movie might be the first time the franchise has hit a speed bump. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to go into every little detail of what I mean by that, because guess what we're going to do, guys? You guessed it, we're going to talk about it. So without further delay, let's talk about the movie. Fast and Furious 9, or F9, or Fast 9, or Furious 9, or Fast and Furious 9, The Fast Saga, or F9, The Fast Saga, whatever title it is that they're using in your current area. This franchise has a lot of ridiculous titles. So Fast and Furious 9 is the 9th installment into the Fast and Furious franchise, provided we're not counting the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, which I also really enjoyed. I have no idea if I reviewed that movie on this channel. If I did, I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. Otherwise, I loved Hobbs and Shaw. I thought it was great. And this movie sees the old gang back together, trying to have a sort of normal life, getting away from all the violence of their past. Dom is now living on a farm with his son and Letty, basically just trying to start anew. However, they are constantly on edge by unexpected visitors, especially considering Cypher escaped Fuent at the end of the 8th movie, so she could still be coming after them. So there is still that threat out there looming over them. They can never really feel truly safe. However, when Mr. Nobody sends a message directly to them, you know, the car guys rather than his actual secret agents that work for him, about his plane going down and a brand new super weapon that could absolutely devastate the world, he needs the ragtag team that we know of Dom, Roman, Letty, everyone, the entire team together essentially, to basically put an end to this. And if you've seen the trailer, a car goes into space as well, and I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot of fun to see. It's a car going to space. Why am I not going to find that entertaining? This movie literally lived up to the meme of people saying this franchise is getting so ridiculous, soon they're going to send a car to space. And you know what? They did just that, and I love that. And to be fair, there's a lot to love about this movie. Getting right into it, the cast all do a great job. I mean, when you've worked together as long as these guys have in this sort of franchise, you're going to be able to have that sort of connection, that on-screen banter, the sort of chemistry that you can share unlike any other franchise. The actors clearly get along together behind the scenes. They're clearly having a lot of fun together, and that's just great to see. When they're having fun, I'm also having fun. And when it comes to Fast and Furious, fun and ridiculous is what I want. And in terms of the action sequences, I absolutely got that. There's a lot of really ridiculous action sequences that you see in this movie that's just a lot of fun. People whipping cars as a sort of pistol whip to hit people off of things, an entire truck being flipped over and then Dom somehow riding it down a mountain and then tail whipping it into a plane, people being caught on car bonnets like they're crash mats, and of course, a car goes to space. Ridiculous stuff that I love, and admittedly, that's all in the trailer. None of that is spoilers. That is literally everything they're showing in the trailer. There's at least one clip from every major action spot in the movie in the trailer. And normally I'd complain about that, but I'm not gonna lie, in a movie like this, I'm just there to see the action unfold. I'm there to see the explosions, the over-the-top shenanigans as to how things got the way they were in that particular trailer. I'm basically there for all the dumb shit. Give me all the dumb shit that you've come up with and shove that in my face, because I'm gonna love all of that in a franchise like this. And provided the filmmakers are aware that this is a very ridiculous franchise and we're not taking it too seriously, it can be a lot of fun, much like the past few movies have been. They've embraced that over-the-top ridiculousness that they have, that over-the-top ridiculous tone that they have throughout the entire franchise. And they have successfully been able to do that whilst also sprinkling in some drama here and there and having some great character building moments. However, in this particular movie, they take it too seriously in my opinion. While you get those one-liners and jokes to help set the tone, you don't really get many of those in this movie when compared to other movies, and if you do, it doesn't always necessarily hit because the actors are just acting like this is the end of the world for them, like this is a very serious issue, rather than embracing that it is a bit ridiculous, it is a little bit weird. So in that, it's a bit over the top. So in that, they're not reacting in a way that I felt was them. I really don't think I'm explaining this correctly. Maybe doing this review is a bad idea when a movie's not fresh in my head. What I mean to say is, Fast and Furious franchise is known for being over the top and ridiculous, and the entire cast and crew know that. They embrace that. In the previous movies we've seen that. Hobbs and Shaw is a prime example of that. The actors are clearly having a lot of fun. In this movie, while the actors are clearly having a lot of fun, their characters in this particular movie, just don't seem to be having that sort of banter, that sort of acknowledging the over-the-top ridiculousness of the situation they're in, whilst also keeping a tone. Why can I not explain this very well? Basically, the movie took itself too seriously. That's all I'm trying to say. Why am I trying to complicate it? I'm being an idiot. It took itself too seriously when it really shouldn't have, and in that, because it was taking itself too seriously, the actors weren't reacting in a way that I'm used to them acting in the previous other films, the tone sort of shifted, and in that I didn't find myself enjoying myself as much as I usually do in a movie like this. While the cast all did a great job, and the addition of John Cena was absolutely great, I thought he did a fantastic job in this movie, and to be fair, the whole backstory and fleshing out as to why Dom, such a family-oriented guy who always talks about family in every single sentence that he has never really mentioned him, that makes sense. Even if it is something that could have been really worked out had the two characters just talked when it all happened, rather than having them be enemies and then meet further down the line just for this big reveal to be, oh, this is actually what happened, you don't know what really happened, and then yeah, everything being sort of fine, kind of. Really, it's very hard to explain because I'm trying not to spoil it for you guys. What I might actually do, because there are a lot of very dumb moments in this movie, is once I've done my rating for the film, I may talk about a few little bits that are sort of spoilery, just to really get my point across, because honestly, the writing for this movie really did let me down. And I can't go into detail about the specifics that let me down because it is spoiler territory, but I just felt like this script was lacking any sort of substance compared to the other movies. There are so many dumb moments in this movie, and I don't mean dumb as in cars flipping and a car going to space or anything like that. I've come to expect that from this franchise. I mean dumb moments in terms of character development or characters changing sides or just backstory. Stuff like that in this movie just felt so convoluted and messy. Like the way they got the entire team back together in this film to, you know, join forces again because Mr. Nobody sent a message, that felt very awkward. It didn't feel like it fit. It honestly felt like the writers had no idea how to get this team back together again, despite the fact that they had the perfect opening due to how they ended the 8th film. And again, I can't exactly say why because it's a spoiler, but I really feel like the script was just bad for this film. And as the trailer shows as well, Han's back in this movie, and while I don't mind the actor at all, I thought he gave a great performance. It's great seeing him back on screen again, and to be fair, the actor's interaction when they see him again, or the character's interaction when they see the character again, was actually really good. They reacted in a way that I feel they would genuinely react if they saw Han, someone who they previously presumed dead, just return out of nowhere. But in that, did they need to bring Han back? No. Not really. They really didn't need him. I mean, the way they explain it is very Fast and Furious in the sense that it doesn't make much sense, but they try to explain it at least, so in that you kind of have to go, alright, Fast and Furious logic, we'll let them have it. But in my opinion, you really didn't need to have him back in this movie. He didn't really serve a pivotal part of the plot for this film. He's there for one particular reason, and even that could have been swapped out for any other character, or even a new character. Introducing a new character in that way could have been really cool. But no, they just brought another character back from the dead. Nice one. Jordana Brewster also returns. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. Dom's sister Mia is now back in this movie, which got me very scared that we might have brought back Paul Walker in some sort of way, in that CGI way. I heard there were talks of bringing his brother back in to body double and doing the CGI face again. And it did make perfect sense for the story to bring Mia back, what with it being her brother as well as Dom's. So again, there is that overarching story of family, that family feel that these guys have. But it got me scared as to what they were going to do with Paul Walker in this movie and if they were going to have him appear. However, I am happy to say that the way they dealt with that I actually thought was very respectful for the character, in a way that they are still keeping him alive in the franchise. His character is still living, he's happy, he's got a family, he is still very much a part of this family. I'm not just going to bring him back for shock value or because they can with the technology that they have through CGI. Overall, guys, this movie was a bit of a disappointment and a bit of a mess. Like, this review is a mess because I honestly can't really explain everything that is wrong with this movie without spoiling the movie for you guys. As I mentioned, the action sequences were a lot of fun. They are still as over the top as you'd come to expect from a Fast and Furious film. I mean, again, a car goes to space, and that's always going to be entertaining. And I did do one particular running gag that I did really enjoy in this movie, where Roman basically acknowledges all of the ridiculous shit that they've been in, and they've never once got a scratch on them, and they've never been killed or anything like that. And so they had this running joke to him believing that him and his group are invincible, so I did quite like that self-aware aspect of the movie. It just would have been great if that self-aware aspect had been present throughout the entirety of the film. Because yes, as I mentioned, this movie did take itself a little bit too seriously. While the cast all do a good job, there's a lot of very dumb moments in this movie that I just just feel the writers really fell on, like they didn't live up to. There was so much they could have done differently in this film, and I think in that it left me very disappointed when I left this movie, because again, I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I've enjoyed every movie in the franchise apart from 2 and Tokyo Drift, which are definitely the weaker entries. But since it's rebooted itself in Fast 5, where it became that more ridiculous, over-the-top action that we know about the franchise now, this is the first entry in that sort of rebooted era side of it that I've honestly just left and gone, it was alright, I guess. And I really hate saying that because, again, I do enjoy the franchise. If this movie isn't necessarily dreadful, there are some very good moments in this movie, and if you know what you're going in for in the Fast and Furious film, you're going to get a lot of that as well, so you are going to still enjoy certain aspects of this movie. If you don't like the previous Fast and Furious movies, you're not going to like this movie. It's not going to do anything different. It's nothing groundbreaking or anything like that. Again, car in space. But it was definitely a disappointing one compared to the other movies. It is a shame because I was very much looking forward to it. And so, for all those reasons, I have to give Fast and Furious 9 3 stars. Okay, so now that the rating is out of the way, I am going to go into spoilers for this movie. A few little bits that I can't explain without spoiling the movie for you guys. So, spoiler warning here. If you haven't seen the movie and you do want to see it with fresh eyes and not know what's going to happen, then don't watch the rest of this video. That's my rating, that's my review, that's my main thoughts on the movie. This is now going to be a bit of spoiler talk for anyone who is interested to hear the parts of the movie that I found a little stupid. The main one being everything that happens with Dom and his brother. Now, like I said, John Cena was great in the movie. I thought the way they incorporated his brother as to why they're not talking was actually really good, in that his father passed away and his brother kind of had something to do with it. Obviously, we've heard about Dom's father dying in a sort of fireball explosion during a crash rally race or something like that. I believe that's how they explained it in the last movie. I'm trying not to obviously immediately say what it is in this movie. But Dom's brother Jacob had something to do with that, in that the father was in a lot of debt, and so he asked Jacob to basically cut a sort of wire or something to make his car stall on the floor, and well, on the track, and basically cause himself to lose, assuming then that he'd obviously bet against himself to lose so he'd win the money because he's known for winning a lot. But it went wrong and it ended up the father was killed, and when Dom found out that Jacob had something to do with that, he basically just wiped any sort of connection with him, but not in a way that normal people would. No, they kind of had to have a drag race to determine, you know, who wins. Like if Dom won, he'd have to leave and keep driving and never come back to the family again. But if Dom lost, what would have happened then? Would he have stuck with the family? Would it just been that awkward thing of, hey, as far as I'm aware, you killed Dad, but we're all cool because you won the race? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And again, the reveal that it was actually Jacob doing something for his father, that his father made him promise not to tell Dom due to the sort of Toretto family pride or something. Again, Fast and Furious universe logic, I'll let that part slide. But because of that, it could have very easily been solved with a very simple conversation. When Dom first comes up to him and goes, I know what you did, I know you killed our dad, he could have gone, whoa, this is actually what happened, and Dom would have gone, oh, okay, I see, all is forgiven. Like, it just boggles my mind that that wasn't any sort of conversation these guys had until the very last moment. And even then, that was at the turning point of his character. Now, this is where Jacob becomes the good guy in this movie. As you know, with it being all about family and him being Dom's brother, you know he's going to come over to their side at the end of the day. That's obvious. That's not a spoiler. Anyone who knows the Fast and Furious franchise knows that's going to be the case. But it's the way they did it in this movie, and that was being that obviously John Cena is getting all of this big super weapon together in an attempt to, you know, damage the world, hurt a lot of people. But then the bad guys suddenly turn on him for no other reason than, well, we need John Cena to now join Dom to, you know, be the hero. But if they hadn't turned on him, like, they had no reason to turn on him. He was doing his job. He was fully committed to doing the bad thing. And if they hadn't turned on him when they did, I 100% believe he would have gone through with it. And so, in that, is he really as forgivable a character? He was betrayed at the last moment and then Dom sort of saved him, but he would have still hurt a lot of innocent people. And that's where I really feel like they could have done it differently. Like, obviously we find out that he didn't intentionally kill his father. He's not a bad person in that sort of sense. So I feel like if Dom had just said to him in those like last moments where maybe those two are having a fight trying to stop this upload link to, obviously, you know, massive countdown, blah blah blah, Fast and Furious franchise, usual sort of movie shit. If they'd have both been in that moment where Dom says, look, I know you're not a bad guy, I know you didn't hurt my father, I know you've hurt other people in the past, but this will hurt a lot of innocent people, that's not you, that's not who you are, that's not my brother. That could have snapped John Cena out of it, and then it would have made more sense for them to team up and then go from there. But they didn't do that. And again, it blows my mind that they didn't think of that, because I just thought that would have been such a better way of bringing John Cena onto the good guy's side, other than the bad guys going, well, this guy's clearly on our side, he's going to do everything that we want him to do, but you know what? Let's chuck him off the fucking truck. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Next up we have Cypher, who I didn't mention in my main review. Charlize Theron is a fantastic actress. As Cypher, I thought she was one of the most intimidating villains that you can have in this franchise. She's not all about muscle. She's not got the size advantage over Vin Diesel's character or anyone like that in the Fast and Furious franchise. She has to use her brain. She's very manipulative. She's very intelligent, and that's what makes her dangerous. And so I was excited to see how we were going to incorporate her in this movie, because she's clearly going to be coming after Dom for revenge, and in that, she's in a box for the movie. The bad guy that John Cena's working for catches her and puts her in a box. They completely wasted Charlize Theron in this movie, and it later reveals that when she's out of the box, she's the one who basically turns on John Cena's character, and I just kind of thought of it being, oh well, it's because they're rivals. What? That doesn't make any sense. Was she the boss of the main villain that John Cena was working for, or did she kind of convince him to let her out? Honestly, it isn't made clear. And honestly, I think they really wasted her character, because I think she was just put into the background. They're just clearly setting her up to be the main villain for the 10th film, the final film in the franchise, or what we believe is the final film in the franchise. But in that, they made her do absolutely nothing in this movie. They wasted her in this film. Again, it just boggles my mind when you have that perfect villain who could be coming after Dom, who could have hired his brother to come after Dom because Dom failed the first time round. There's even the line in the trailer where she says, oh, if it came to it, could you kill him? That's not in the movie. That makes it sound like she had control over him. She doesn't. She has one scene with him as far as I remember. And even in that scene, it's sort of established that these guys are rivals. It doesn't make any sense. There are other little Dom moments that happen in this movie as well, including a moment where Dom jumps down to take on a bunch of bad guys to fall into this water, essentially to have a flashback as to the past life of his father, and, you know, come to terms with all this thing of, oh my god, my brother's not such a bad guy, and my father was in debt, and all my pride and all that has done all this. But the way they did that, like, they could have gone. He didn't need to jump down to take on those guys hand to hand. He didn't need to do that. And they made it play off like it was such an intense moment, like they had no other choice. But they did. They could have closed the door and ran. That wouldn't have been an issue in this film. It honestly would not have been an issue. Other little Dom things like that just didn't make sense to me. The bringing back of Han, that was done because Mr. Nobody was the boss of Giselle, who obviously died in the 6th movie. Or did she die? She might come back again. They brought back Han, they brought back loads of dead characters. Why not bring her back as well? But he basically sits down with Han and says, I've lost an agent to bullets, I've lost an agent to this, I've lost an agent to that, but I've never lost an agent to love. And so he kind of employs Han to help him out with a mission. And on that mission, it's got something to do with what they're after in this particular movie, and so things go wrong. And the people who invented this device die in a car explosion, but in doing so, their daughter is left alive. And the people come after the daughter, but Han's there to save her, and so he realizes that essentially, oh, they're going to keep coming after her, they're going to keep coming after me while I'm protecting her, so now we need to go into hiding. And so he goes to Mr. Nobody and says, oh, can we fake my death? And it's just dumb shit like that. It could have been a completely new character. It really could have. And my final little tiny nitpick in terms of spoiler is Mr. Nobody at the start of the movie brings them together because his plane is going down. He's caught Cypher, but someone is coming after him. His plane has gone down. He calls them over to the location where the plane has gone down. They get there. They don't find any traces of him or the bodies of anyone else who was there. They get the weapon that we were looking for, obviously, that he basically sent them there for. But then we never really hear from him in present day again. What has happened to Mr. Nobody? What has happened to Kurt Russell? I swear, if this movie has done Kurt Russell dirty and killed him off screen, I'm gonna be pissed. If it does transpire that in the next movie he's been caught by Cypher and is being held hostage, I'll be fine with that. I'll take back that little criticism. But no one mentions him again. No one tries to seek out any sort of connection with him or communication with him. Also, Scott Eastwood's character, just remembered this now, in this movie, we meet all these other characters, whether it be from the past Fast and Furious franchises, or new characters that somehow have a connection to these characters that we never met before, like Cardi B, in it for like 5 minutes. Why? No reason. There's no reason for her to be in the movie other than the fact that she knows Dom so we can get out of a particular situation. But where is Scott Eastwood's character in all of this? He's someone that was established in the 8th movie to have a bit of a connection with these guys. Why would they not call on him for help? It doesn't make sense. God, it really sounds like I'm shitting on this movie, but I'm honestly not. There were a lot of good things about this film. It's just the writing for those particular moments were just so stupid and so dumb. I honestly feel like they could have done better in those moments. The script honestly could have done with a couple of rewrites to really perfect what they were trying to do, and I feel like it would have been a much better movie, but in that it was very disappointing. I've already given my rating, like I said. I stick by the 3-star rating. It is still an enjoyable film if you love the Fast and Furious franchise. You'll love the over-the-top action that this movie brings. That standard same over-the-top action that the franchise is known for, but those particular moments in this movie really just left me, honestly, questioning everything. But that's it for the spoiler talk. If you did stay for that, what are your thoughts on everything that I said? Do you agree with it all? Is it as stupid as I think it is? Am I overthinking it? Should I just be enjoying a stupid popcorn flick of a movie and not taking it as serious as I am, despite the fact the movie itself took itself seriously? What are your guys' thoughts overall? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you want to see more videos just like this one, then subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks again for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all in the next video.